take a little time to review some of our Unit 1 concepts that we saw in our past, just to refresh our memory and also prepare for our upcoming assessment over the first unit's concepts. So I'd like to take a little bit of time to look at one of the concepts we looked at a while ago, and that is graphing relations. So here I've got two relations I'm going to graph. The first one is the relation n minus n squared minus 1 such that n equals -2, 0, 1, and 3. So with this is telling me that I have a relation for which n can be -2, 0, 1, and 3. In order to find the ordered pairs that are part of this relation, we can then use the substitution of n equals -2, 0, 1, and 3. And notice when we're looking at this ordered pair, this would be where we graph our x and our y that is in relationship with that ordered pair. So I'm just going to make a good old table here to show what's happening. So I'm told that my n's include -2, 0, 1, and 3. And notice I'm putting that in the x column because here I'm told that x is n. So x will be those four numbers. To find y, we're going to input those four values for which n is valid. And calculating this, then we've got the point -2. -2 squared is 4, minus 1 is 3. 0 squared is 0, minus 1 is 1, so that would be the point 0, -1. We've got 1, and then 1 squared is 1, minus 1 is 0, so the point 1, 0. And last, we have 3. 3 squared is 9, minus 1 is 8. All right, the second relation that I'm going to graph looks a little bit different. Here we've got, we have values where x can be greater than 0 and y can fit into 2 is less than y is less than 3. So if I look at just this y is greater than 0, y is greater than 0 anywhere to the right of our y-axis. So anywhere in that first and fourth quadrant would fit that first. Here we've got that y must be basically between 2 and 3 inclusive of 3. So our y values can include anywhere from 2, not included, to 3, which can be included. And if we recall back in our Algebra 1, Algebra 2 time where we looked at linear programming, this looks a lot like the linear programming types of problems that we had. And so when we did those, we looked at where do those two inequalities both have valid outputs. And if we look at that, that would be in this region here. A few things to notice. I'm going to just erase that a little bit so it looks like I've got a dashed line here. I want the reader of my graph to know that those values are not included. There we go. So again, as we look at that relation, what we have in red is that relation that is graphed. You have more examples of this as well in your notes from section 1, 2. Let's go ahead and look at another example. So here we have a function composition, function arithmetic. This is section 1.5 that we looked at these types of examples. And here I have f of x equals 3 over x and g of x equals 2x plus 6. We're going to find the rule for each function. We're going to state its domain. So before I start bringing together these functions with the arithmetic shown, I'm going to first look at my two functions and just determine are there any restrictions on this domain. When I see f of x I see a restriction right away, and hopefully you do as well. Keeping in mind that we cannot divide by 0, that is then undefined. We can't have that. X cannot equal 0. Now keep in mind, if there is a constraint on our domain at any point in the relationship, it will be there forever. So that means that all of the functions that we will have that restriction, even if it looks like that restriction is no longer part of the function when we simplify. All right, when I look at g of x, that has no restrictions. We do not have an even index. We do not have any fractions, so we can move on and then start bringing these together with arithmetic. Our first one here, we have f plus g of x. So we will then take f of x plus g of x. And again, in our notes from 1.5, we looked at that relationship, so feel free to look back at those examples in your notes. So we have 3x plus 2x plus 6. And I want to simplify this. In order to simplify these, I need to go ahead and get common denominators. So my second expression, my second function does not have a denominator of x. So let's go ahead and make that happen. And then we can combine them. We have 2x squared plus 6x plus 3 all over x, and x cannot equal 0. We can write our domain as x such that x cannot equal 0, or we can also write it in that interval notation. Oops. Not greater than. There we are. Please note that this fraction is as simplified as that will get, so I'm not going to go ahead and try to simplify that anymore. Since I already found my common denominator here in my first example, I'm going to go ahead and set this second one up right away, where I've got 3x minus 2x squared plus 6 all over x. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little more space. So this then equals negative 2x squared minus 6 plus 3 all over x. And again, our domain is the same. All right, let's move on to multiplication. When we have a multiplication here, we've got 3x times 2x minus 6x. And of course, good old fraction multiplication skills. We know we multiply our numerators and our denominators. So we have 6x minus 18 all over x squared. And again, we have our domain is the same. So we still have our same domain, same restriction on our x. Division. Here we've got 3 divided by x divided by 2x plus 6. And using our fraction division skills, if it helps you to go back to what we used to do way back in the day, fraction division allows us to multiply by the reciprocal. You could see that happen if it helps you. So I'm just going to show that for those of you who might need to see that. This is the same. Function f divided by g is the same as function f times the reciprocal of function g. And so when we simplify that, now when we're looking at this denominator, we have a denominator now that has a little bit more than just an x or an x squared. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to factor that denominator. That denominator factored is 2x, x plus 3. And now we can see, hopefully, that x cannot equal 0, of course, because that is a constraint or a restriction that is on that domain forever, and negative 3. We have more examples in our section 1.5 that we took notes on earlier. There's also more examples in section 1.5 in your textbook that you can review. Just a quick review of this function, arithmetic. All right. One more here, I have a graph. We're going to use the graph of this absolute value function in order to find some functions of g and f of x. So here I have g of x equals f of x plus 1. So here we're going to bring in what we know about function transformations. If we have a function and we are adding 1 after the function, we have a vertical translation. In this case, we have plus 1, so we are moving up 1 unit. So our g of x will be the function that allows this absolute value function, which is f of x, to translate vertically 1 unit up. Again, a shift 1 unit up. I just grabbed a couple of these points. I took these 3 points and I moved those up, and then from there sketched the rest of my graph. You